So by the time this airs, you're gonna have to look real smart. Co-main event for the Sphere, right? What do you got?
I got Alexa Grasso.
Okay, why?
I think she's just been growing more. I
Sure.
feel like Valentina. I feel she hasn't really evolved as a fighter since. Obviously, she was a great champion for a long time, but I think she just got to that point of just peaking with her skills.
Interesting question for you, and I wonder, do you think that is in part because Valentina is so set on her ways and hasn't really gone outside of her comfort zone and trained at other places or got other looks or things like that?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
I think you see that with a lot of fighters where they stick with the same coach, same
Sure.
team.
And it's not like you need to change your coach.
Yeah.
But like, hey, what do you think about?
Go fetch information.
Just go, yeah.
We just talked
just
about
go
Right.
looking up somebody
Yeah.
else. Even cross training with somebody else, it makes a big difference. But I think
Right.
that so many people are like, they don't want to show their weaknesses, I guess,
Sure.
or they don't want to go to another gym and like, what if this guy beats me? I don't want to feel embarrassed or
Sure.
something like that. There's a lot of guys afraid of doing that.
There seems like there's a lot of secrecy behind their like camp, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
no outsiders. I've heard like that coach is like you have to be vetted in with him before you
Yeah.
can work with her.
You're not allowed to drink water in between rounds.
That's so silly.
I showed it to
I
Ian.
love water.
I showed it to Ian. He's like, bro, it's so stupid. So I can have water? He's like, yes. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, thank you.
Thanks, man.
I was like, she's the champion, though.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like you said, she just looks the same.
Yeah.
And even in the last couple fights where you're waiting for her to, like, do something differently, she hasn't. But I think Alexa, you can just tell she's been growing. That team's hot right now.
Team's hot. They're doing a
Yeah.
great job.
Yeah.
Oh, let's back up one. Ortega, Diego Lopez.
I pick Lopez on this one.
Okay.
I just think he comes out so fast and so
Sure.
hard, and you're thinking, where would Ortega beat him? It would be the ground, but it's like Diego's really good on the ground himself.
I think so as well.
And I don't think Ortega has the wrestling to take him down or make it a slow-paced fight.
Do you think his boxing, though, is good enough to kind of like keep
No, I
Diego at
mean,
bay?
he has a chin, right? He has a really good chin, but like
Both of them.
Yair was catching him hard in that fight. Yair had him rocked a couple of times, but I think Lopez, when he rocks you, he sees
Sure.
blood and he just goes nonstop for the kill.
Yeah.
And I think at some point, kind of like the Tony Ferguson, where your chin has to give out at one point.
Right.
So for Ortega, we've seen him take so many freaking hard shots. It's like at one point there has to be a point where your chin's like, all right, bro.
That fight interests me probably the most on the card, to be honest
Really?
with you. I really, I don't know, like seeing Diego live with Dan, a lot of the same setups and same rhythm is like hook, uppercut, hook, uppercut, uppercut, hook, hook. You know, like he needs to get in tight and have these like kind of, you know, more boxing exchanges where I think if Ortega can pick up on the patterns that we were kind of seeing in repetition, I think Ortega can keep him at length. I think he can use his length and maybe pick him apart from the outside. Kind of what we saw with Ortega versus Korean Zombie. I think if Ortega can get back to that style of striking, I think Ortega picks him apart.
Yeah, but when you're looking at Lopez, it's like you had 4 hours to come up with a game plan for EJ.
Sure, there was no game plan.
Yeah,
There was
obviously,
a go fight.
But like
Right?
I said, he's gonna fight the same way
Sure.
regardless. Like, he
That's
seems
a
like the
good point.
type that comes
That's a
with
good
the same
point. Yeah.
mindset regardless.
Yeah.
But I think if as a fighter you have to take offense to like a guy pulling out on the day of. So I wonder if he's gonna come with a different mentality. Like I want to make this guy pay for it. I agreed to a heavier weight class against Ortega.
Right.
And then now I had to fight somebody else.
Tells you so much about the fight, right?
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I actually wrote Dan last night. I go, what's your weight? What's your weight at?
Oh, he's
And
a
Dan's like,
right?
168. I was like, all right, we got to be 164 by Friday. I told him, you never know, bro. Let's
Never
go.
know.
Let's go.
But that like just the way that fight happened, it came together, and
Yeah.
the way both guys performed, that was like the most legendary
Oh,
thing.
bravo, man. I
Yeah.
was so happy for both of them, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, what a nice guy Diego is, man. He's such a good dude, and like kind of from a back, you know, like seeing his rise and watching him on Contenders and lose to Jonathan Brito and then be able to get another. I think he lost another fight outside of the organization even.
Did he?
You know, so for him to be able to kind of make his way in and just really just honestly just a great guy, you know. So couldn't be happy for him and his team. So main event. What do you got?
I think I'm gonna go with the Sugar Show. I just think that he's so good moving backwards, and Merab gets hit a lot.
Yeah.
And he gets rocked a lot too in a lot of his fights. Obviously, he has a tank, but like if I'm for like Merab, you have to be You have to be perfect for full 25 minutes, nonstop.
That's what you're saying.
And O'Malley just got to land one punch.
Yeah.
And I think Merab's at that point now, right, where you're like, bro, is he doing so much social media stuff to try to be this guy?
Mm-hmm.
So he shows like the people in the UFC that I could promote fights and this and that, and you're forgetting about the goal. The goal is to win the fight first.
You got to win the fight.
You got to win the fight. So
Yeah.
it's all this other stuff, showing your stitches, showing you this, and you're like, bro, you're doing too much now.
Yeah.
Instead of like, is he looking past Sean O'Malley? He's thinking, oh, I could just take him down. He just got lucky with my teammate Aljo, and it's all about mindsets. But I think for Sean, he's so good moving laterally, so good moving backwards and hitting backwards, and he had full camp for a guy like Aljo, who's wrestler, and I think that Merab, he doesn't have the best entrances, right? It's sloppy takedown, just
linear,
just running straight and forward on you.
I agree.
And
Reaching
that leaves
and
openings for
reaching.
shots.
I agree. I'm with you. And that was the same thing we kind of broke down a couple days ago. I feel the same. Love Merab. I think he's hilarious. I see him work in the room. I see him go with top level guys all the time. He trains over at a different gym, but I mean, Merab's been in our gym too. And I cheer for Merab. I think he's a good dude. But when you break down the fight, if the fight's going to be on the feet, right, or start on the feet every round,
Yeah.
I don't see a path where Merab knocks him out. I don't see a way Merab submits him. I just don't. I think if Merab wins, it's by decision, and it's a 25-minute fight. But if you give me 25 minutes with Sean O'Malley on the feet, right, and there's some resets and some get-ups and everything else, I feel like Sean will find your chin. I also love the fact that Sean had the Cheeto fight first. I think it let him kind of ease his way into being a champ and showed what he is as a champion, right? Didn't let it get to him, and he went out and really performed in that fight. I think it helps him. I really do. I think it helps him that he got that one fight out of the way as a champion.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Sean's going to win the fight. We talked about this. I think, like you said, his side-to-side movement, lateral movement. And Merab gets tagged, bro.
Yeah.
He gets hit. Like Jan, Marlon Moraes, Aldo. I mean, all these guys touched him. You know, they're just not as accurate as Sean or as precise. But
love both guys, man.
Yeah,
like, and Tim
agreed.
Welch and I have been friends for a long time.
Yeah.
There's another guy that I don't think gets as – I think Tim's getting his shine now. But here are two guys. It's almost like your story with Lou. Like Tim Welch was the fighter for a long time, and Sugar was the kid coming up.
Yep.
And they really bought into each other. And now you see, the time that they've put in, the growth that they've had. And it couldn't happen to a better guy in Tim Welch, man. He's an amazing coach. But seeing all of his hard work and progressions, and and a lot of the credit needs to go to John Crouch as well. A lot of people don't remember that, Sugar was there with Crouch and MMA Lab for a long time.
Yeah.
But kind of really had Tim kind of take over that head coaching role. So I love to see that, like with you and Lou. Like, my wrestling coach left me.
Yeah.
I had to find him on Facebook, But they I think they're Montana boys. I think they're both from Montana.
Yeah.
And they grew up kind of knowing each other.
Somewhere up there.
Yeah. So cool story for both guys. But when you break it down technically, I just think I feel like the lateral movement, the slide backs, the drop steps, the footwork. It's the footwork where he can catch these traps, and I think that's where Sugar finds him.